Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Mystery Writer speaking, and welcome to the show. Today, I bring you a quick review. Yes, I decided to do a quick review because I sort of been putting off doing reviews for a very long time, despite the fact that really haven't had much to do this week. I'm just lazy that way. Anyways, today I bring you a quick review of the Acorn Princess. But Mystery Writer, what the heck is the Acorn Princess? Glad you asked. It is a YouTube short on the YouTube channel Tough Nut Studios. Released on Valentine's Day 2020, before Hell on Earth happened, aka COVID. This short apparently was shown in many different film festivals, is indicated on the thumbnail, including the Los Angeles Cinefest, the Pittsburgh LGBQT plus Film Festival, and so forth. That last one's actually kind of important because they kind of tried to advertise this as a sort of LGBTQ plus Disney princess kind of deal. Yes. So what exactly is the plot? Well, I'm assuming that these are all tiny people, as they live in trees and such, and Acorn Princess and the Flower Prince have been betrothed for as long as they can remember. They are inseparable as friends. Yes, they actually don't have any sort of romantic feelings for each other at all. As a matter of fact, the Acorn Princess, aka Cornelia, is actually in love with one of the guards. So on the day of their wedding, they decide, hey, you know what would be a great idea? And where they would have their friend Beetle, aka the Flower Prince's love interest, basically decide to just crash the party and kidnap both of them. Except they forgot about the fact that Cornelia's father has a flying squirrel and a bow and arrow. Wow. Greatly planned there, guys. Wow. They forgot about the flying squirrel. How you've lived in this palace for how long, Cornelia? And you forgot about the freaking flying squirrel? Ever heard of covering all your bases? Okay, anyways, they crash land, and the king's about to kill Beetle. But then Cornelia steps in the way and says that she's not in love with the Flower Prince, and he's in love with Beetle, and this changes the king's heart. And the next thing you know, we have a new wedding. Yes, right, we have a new wedding, and this time the Flower Prince is marrying Beetle. And then Cornelia finally has the courage to ask her true love, the guard, out on a date. Yay! Happy days are here again. The end. And that was the Acorn Princess. Now, this is something I've sort of been putting off for a long time, and I don't really know why. I just sort of been putting it off. I have a lot of videos in my watch later column that I've been putting off watching. Really need to work on that. But anyways, final thoughts on the Acorn Princess? Well, for starters, I actually really enjoyed it. It's a nice, heartwarming story. It's very lovable. It's adorable. The art style is actually very nice, very reminiscent of other works that I've seen on YouTube, including the Dragon Fox Girls artwork a little bit. Although the artwork is a little bit rough in terms of quality, a lot of rough outlines and sharp, pointed areas. And yeah, no offense, but has anyone else noticed that Beetle looks kind of like a lot like Rad from OKKO, Let's Be Heroes? I mean, the two, just Beetle literally looks like a color swap version of Rad. Now, what do I mean by the animation is rough? Well, there's a lot of weird movements going around. Don't get me wrong. The short definitely has its moments of pure gold. Nice fluid motions here and there, especially during some of the action scenes. But then we get into some really rough walk cycles and not so fluid movements that are kind of a bit janky. But I think the biggest problem of this short was that it's just too short. This story needs to be expanded beyond a 7-minute short. It needs to be something more like 15 minutes. That way, we really get to know these characters more. Because, as is, the characters are kind of basic. I mean, there's nothing more to them other than they're good friends of each other, but they're in love with someone else. And that's the full extent of their characters, which is kind of a shame because they're actually really lovable characters. I just wish they were further developed as characters. Overall, I actually really enjoyed this short. The music was great, the action was great, the animation is rough, but it's kind of what you would expect from a short on YouTube. Something a little bit more amateurish, which is kind of weird because I think this is an actual studio. I'm not entirely sure. Don't take my word for it. But yeah, overall, it's not bad. I recommend it, but I wouldn't call it a masterpiece. It's rough around the edges, and I really do think that the story needs to be expanded upon in order to allow more development, especially at the emotional level. For those reasons, I give this a 4 out of 5. It's average. It's just average. But hey, you know what? Representation is actually needed because, I don't know, for the longest time, the LGBTQT plus community has sort of been relegated to the sidelines as, just a comic relief character in chick flicks for the longest time. So it's nice to see that further expand upon, which is great. Also, is it just weird that the Disney Channel has done that sort of representation better than the Disney movies? Does anyone else find that weird? Or is it just me? No joke. I mean, so far in the Disney movies, all we've gotten is just a couple of mentions and possible gay characters, while in the Disney Channel and so on, we've gotten full on parents who are members of the LGBTQT plus community. And heck, I mean, with shows like The Owl House, we've gotten a bisexual lead character. So again, there's definitely a need for this kind of stuff. So yeah, the Acorn Princess definitely has a place to belong. Well, that's all the time I have for today. Thank you for stopping by this impromptu review. This has been the Mystery Writer speaking, and until next time, sayonara!